What's going on, everyone?
We're live.
Someone's volume's on. All right, it's off now.
What's up, guys? Greetings from our Denver office. If you guys haven't seen it yet, we have a beautiful Scout IQ sign. The O is a little fat just on one edge. So for those of you who are OCD like me, I'm sorry. We may redo it.
We did that to show that no one's perfect. It was intentional, right?
Yeah, we're definitely not perfect. But we're excited you're here. We got some exciting news, but we're going to jump into a couple things first. A couple housekeeping items. Again, we are live here in Denver. If anybody's local or if you guys find yourself in the Denver area, swing on by. We've got a couple of nice couches and chairs and a couple nice Colorado beverages of choice. Come on by. We'd love to meet our customers, or if you're in the book world, pop on in, say hello, and we'd love to see you out here in Denver. We do take your photo with a Polaroid camera. So come on out. We'll put you on our wall of fame.
Capture your essence in a photo and stick
Exactly.
on the wall.
Yeah, so come on out. We'd love to see you if you're in Denver. Drop us a line, Caleb@thebookflipper.com, or Matthew. You don't have a bookflipper.com email. We need to fix
Matthew
that.
at scoutiq.co.
Oh, I
That
don't
does
even have a
exist.
Caleb. That's fancy.
We have a cool Scouti.
We've got an info.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
We do.
a couple housekeeping things. Scout IQ turns 2 years old today.
Yes.
We launched officially on the 17th. We did a soft launch November 17, 2017. Yeah. And we rolled it out officially on the 21st. That is today. So we are two. A lot of software companies don't survive more than a couple months or a year, and we're still alive. In fact, we're doing so well, we decided to celebrate. So we went out and bought a lifetime supply of dry erase markers. We are super excited. We're glad it's finally in the budget for this. So we got 52 dry erase markers. If you guys do swing by the office, maybe you can take one home with you, but we're excited. We know how to party in style. All right, we're gonna jump in. A couple other things on Scout IQ. Hope you guys are loving the Sell Back Your Book integration. We just pulled up some numbers this morning. We've been live for about 3 weeks now, and you guys have already sent in over $11,000 worth of merchandise. So we're putting a lot of money back into the book community. Bill Martlink, I believe, is watching us live. What's up, Bill? We sent them a cake to celebrate our partnership, and hopefully they enjoyed that. It was a Dairy Queen cake. I'm not really a cake fan, but ice cream cake
is different.
Is wonderful.
Everyone loves ice cream cake.
So we've put, thanks to the partnership with them, we put $11,000 back into your pockets already, and we're just getting started. So if you haven't seen that, check out the Book Flipper community, or just look up Scout IQ plus Sell Back Your Book. You'll see some pretty cool information on how to use our app to get some guaranteed cash for books, even books that may not be profitable online. Second update coming out probably this week. We're still pending some App Store approval. Our own version of historical data, Keepa. It's essentially our own data that we're using, and you can get historical charts without having to pay for third-party software moving forward. Really excited to roll that out. That'll be finding its way. We won't say that because people like to copy us, but they'll be finding some other ways to show you some data, and we can't wait to show that to you as well.
Exciting things coming.
Yeah. Is that live yet?
No, this is not live yet.
All right, go ahead and switch. We're going to jump into some slides.
All right, I'm going to jump right in here.
We do a monthly training, and we try and keep it less salesy. We're not trying to push a lot of products, but we've got something pretty cool and exciting today. So we are going to push a product at the end, but we do want to provide some value. So if you guys are missing these, you can check out monthly bookseller training on the Book Flipper community. We've been doing these for probably 4 or 5 months now.
At least,
We've got some pretty cool advice on how to scout better, how to make connections, how to price, reprice lists, and we'll keep doing those. We do put surveys from time to time in the Book Flipper community. We'll show the results of one of ours in just a minute, but a lot of you were asking for repricing help, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to kick things off. We'll talk through some principles of repricing, get into a little bit of the specifics, maybe some of the struggles that you have with current repricing software, and then I'm going to turn it over to Matthew. He's actually built something pretty cool behind my back, I might add.
Really?
Yeah, we almost got in a fight. Not really.
Yeah.
We have to show drama, right? Because then people
Show
watch
drama.
that.
Could be reality TV in this office.
Yeah, if you want, we'll get some boxing gloves. You guys can comment below. Who do you think would win, Matthew or myself? I think Matthew's a little more in shape, but I'm a little heftier, so we'll see.
You're a little taller. You got the height on me.
Yeah, I got probably a longer extension. So guys, comment below if we got into a fist fight.
Who's gonna win?
Who would win? Where would you put your money? All right, let's jump in. Go ahead and show the survey. So we did a survey on our Facebook group, and we asked, what do you guys want to learn about? And we just kind of gave the generic things like listing, sourcing, accounting, pricing, repricing, managing inventory. And if you guys can see the results of that, it was by far and away, see if I can zoom in, we had over 70 people said they wanted to learn about repricing. The next biggest one was actually accounting and bookkeeping. So you guys, if you've been to Turn the Page, Chris Winans is my CPA. He handles and a lot of people at Turn the Page. It was pretty cool. We kind of gave him he sponsors the event, and we gave him a shout out last time. He wasn't even there, and probably 5 or 6 people in the room spoke up and were like singing his praises. Yeah. So we'll get him out on an interview. Maybe next month we'll do a maybe earlier, because we're getting close to the end of the year, and if you're going to make tax moves, you got to do them now. So we'll try and get Chris in there for accounting and bookkeeping. The next biggest one, I see Reezy Resells was on that one, is how to hire people and scale up. So we'll get into kind of some of these. Again, we want to make sure we're providing value and answering the questions that you guys want answered. So we'll keep asking these questions, and we'll keep answering them based on what you guys tell us. So be careful what you tell us. You're going to dictate some of the content that we do. All right, let's jump into repricing. And first, I need to give a disclaimer before we jump in. Repricing, nobody's perfect at it. There's no perfect way to reprice. Matthew and I are going to talk about some principles today, and I will just put my hand up and say I am not an expert when it comes to repricing. There is no perfect price, and here's the deal. You're either going to price too high and maybe not sell your item quickly enough, or maybe not at all. Worst case, you come back and reprice it back to a better price, a more fair price later, and you can eventually sell it. So worst case, you're on the high end and it doesn't sell. On the other end of the spectrum, maybe you price it too low. Maybe it's a book that's normally $50. You misprice it on accident for $30, and you sell it immediately. Someone buys it up. Somebody smart with good software snags that, maybe an eFlip customer, and they're going to resell it back at the normal price of $50, $60, $70. Again, worst case, you sold it for too cheap. Okay, you got your cash back, right? Maybe you got a couple bucks invested at a thrift store, so you made your money. Like there's no wrong way to do it. Maybe you need a lot of capital right now, so you need to sell stuff. Maybe you're fine sitting and trying to maximize profitability. So just with that disclaimer out of the way, again, nobody is perfect when it comes to that. So again, the question often comes up, is repricing an art or is it a science? Is there one right way to do this? Is this a science? Can we actually come up with rules that always work for everybody every single time? And the answer is a resounding no. We're going to get into some principles. I've got some content on my blog over at thebookflipper.com. There's also some previous videos I've done as far as how we do it. We're going to talk more about theory here and less about practice, but then we'll show you a cool tool that'll help with it. So it's not necessarily a science. There's a little bit of an art to it, and we'll give you some principles here, and there's always counterexamples. We'll say, hey, you shouldn't price, if the lowest merchant fulfilled price is $10, you probably shouldn't price it at $100 FBA. And 1 or 2 of you will pop up and say, yeah, but I just sold a book last week for $100. The lowest merchant fulfilled was 10. So yeah, it does work. So there's always counterexamples to this, and that's why it's not necessarily a science, because people are random. Yeah. I think Greg Murphy jokes about this a little bit, but he goes, it's like monkeys on a keyboard. We're just kind of poking around the keyboard and happen to add something to cart and buy it, and cool. So there's always going to be counterexamples, but we want to give you some of the principles. So with that, here is the goal. If you guys have followed me for any length of time or watched see me speak at Turn the Page or at some of the other conferences out there. Which slide is up right now? Here we go.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. If you guys, we talk about 3 metrics that you should be tracking in your business. And I talk about doing this on a weekly basis. You can get lost in the weeds. If you guys don't know anything about what you're tracking, I highly recommend, again, it's my product, but the tracking spreadsheet. I know there's a lot of you out there that are using it. Comment below or to the side if you guys are using the tracking spreadsheet. It's going to give you really good data when it comes to tax time, help you understand your sources, your cost of inventory, your actual ROI, helps you understand which ranks are selling. So there's a lot of really cool data that's in it that's going to help you make better decisions. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to get stuck in the weeds, I don't want to get into it, here's 3 metrics. And again, this is nothing new. If you guys have followed me for any length of time, I talk about this a lot. Here's the 3 metrics, super simple, that you should be tracking in your business. The first is, and you should be doing this on a weekly level, not a monthly or quarterly, because that's not enough check-in points throughout the year to make sure you're being smart and effective with what you're doing. So the 3 points: 1, how many items are you sourcing every single week? Set a goal. If you guys don't know what the goal should be and what's possible and how much money you'll make if you do 50 books a week or 100 or 200, you can Google or go to YouTube and look up the Amazon weekly tracker. I'm going to slaughter that. We'll put a link down below.
Put a link for it.
Maybe we'll grab one as Matthew switches over. But look up the Amazon FBA weekly book tracker. It's a tool I put out, 100% free. You can put in a tip jar if you want. It'll go into our coffee or golf funds. 100% free. You can download it. There's one in the 100 Book Challenge. There's also so go to the 100bookchallenge.com and look at the resources. We'll put a link in.
I'll find it real fast.
But either way, it'll let you plug in how many items you're going to find a week, what your average selling price is, and what your turn rate is. Spoiler alert, those are the 3 metrics you should be tracking. So 1, if you're putting enough books into inventory, then you're going to be able to hit your goals. When you're just starting out, it takes money to build your inventory. It's going to take some time to kind of build its way out. Google's listening to us now. Thanks for that. It's going to take some time to build up your inventory, and that's okay. You're going to be kind of digging that hole, but you're getting it to where you're going to be replacing what you sell. So at some point in your business, and it never works perfectly, but you'll hit what's called equilibrium. If you're sourcing 100 books a week, once you have a good amount of inventory, you'll be sourcing 100 books a week and roughly selling 100 books a week. And again, that'll ebb or flow depending on textbook season. There's some certain months of the year, like this one, is usually a little bit slower. So you might not be selling as many. But once you reach equilibrium, your business kind of runs on autopilot. As long as you can find those 100 books a week, list them, get them in, have your systems in place, you'll be roughly selling 100 books a week. You'll be getting some consistent revenue, income, profits from Amazon, and you can just kind of keep feeding that beast and keep it going. And then if you want to scale up and go to 200 books a week, again, you'll have a little bit of a period where you're growing that business. But the important metric is all you got to do is be finding those books to start with, okay? A lot of times we try and optimize too many things, and instead all we have to do is say, hey, I need to find 100 books a week. That's my target. 250 books a week, whatever it may be. And as long as you can hit that goal, you know the rest of it's going to take care of it. We're very spoiled. I know that it's easy to get negative at times. There's a lot of competition, and maybe thrift stores are selling their books, and anybody with a smartphone can get started. But it's really fortunate, and we like to not tease, but criticize Amazon for the fees. But the reality is I talk about a funnel. We can throw a ton of books into the funnel. I don't have to find the customers. I don't have to deal with customer support. I don't have to deal with shipping orders. Amazon, through the Prime program, fulfilled by Amazon, takes care of all of that. All I have to do is find inventory. I'm just a glorified treasure hunter, like a beachcomber going on the sand with a metal detector. All I have to do is find books and either sell back your book, or a buyback company will pay me for them, or I can list them into Amazon and eventually they turn into cash. So we're very, very fortunate. I don't have to market, find customers, build a website, handle servers, any of that stuff. I just have to find books. So whenever you get down or you're getting angry because Amazon's taking a big chunk of your revenue and fees, realize that we've got it pretty good. All right, I digress. Checkpoint number 1, how many items are you sourcing a week? The next 2 kind of relate to repricing, and you're trying to balance these other 2 features. One is the turn rate, and that's simply how many items sold in the last week divided by how many items I have in inventory. So if you have an inventory of 1,000 items and you sell 5%, that's 50 items in a week. That's pretty good. Typically, you're going to be selling 3 to 5% of your items if you're an FBA seller every week. If you're sourcing really carefully, you might sell more. If you've got a lot of long tail items, you might sell a little bit less than that, but that's turn rate. And again, we're tracking this weekly. The second metric is average sale price. So you want to try and balance that. If you're a cherry picker, your average selling price should be in the $15 to $20 to $22 range. If you have a lot of textbooks, it can go up from there. If you're a bulk seller, FBA, you're probably going to be more in the $9 to $12 range. It's going to be hard to get that up if you're trying to list everything you possibly can. But you're trying to balance those 2 things. So if you price really aggressively, if you try and match the buy box or beat the buy box and just try and reprice 15 times a day or all the time. A lot of repricing software now will let you do throughout the day instantaneous repricing. Yeah. If you're trying to just blow out inventory, you can raise that turn rate 6, 7, 8, 9%. You can get that maybe 1% a day, so 7% a week, which would be really, really good. In order to do that, your average sale price might drop a little bit. But it depends on your business model. You might be in a spot where you go, hey, I've got so many books coming in the door, I'm just trying to blow them out to get cash back and be able to handle that. And that's an okay strategy. But that's turn rate. Or you're on the other end of the spectrum where you go, hey, I'm only sourcing 50 books a week. I'm really careful about the books that I source. Maybe I'm only getting, I'm only looking for books that I can sell for 18 to 20 or higher. In that case, you might want to protect your average selling price. So your turn rate might be 3 or 4%. You're not trying to match the buy box. You're trying to go a little bit higher. But again, what you can try and do is, again, there's no one size fits all. Matthew and I are going to have different rules when it comes to repricing. And again, when you get to textbook season, you might be trying to be a little more aggressive on textbooks. Lots of strategies out there, and we can get into some of the weeds if you want. So go ahead and ask some questions. Got a bunch of you watching on Facebook as well as both of our YouTube channels as well. But the goal is somewhat trying to balance those. So rough metrics, you should be looking at a turn rate of 3 to 5% a week. That'll equivocate. That'll come out to about 10 to 20%, 12 to 20% a month. If you're a lot higher than that, kudos to you. Maybe there's a chance to drop that down. So maybe if you're at 7% a week, you might be able to lower that to 5 or 6% and get a slightly higher average selling price. Amazon, with the way the FBA fees work, they take a fixed fee to ship that book for you. Typically, it's about $4 to $5. And then there's a variable fee, which is 15% based on the actual selling price. So if you can get an extra $1 out of a book, the fixed price is already covered. You're only going to pay 15 cents. So for every $1 you can get extra on a book, 85 cents of that goes right into your pocket. So the more granular, the more cautious you can get with repricing and get a really good system in place, you can really improve your margins because you've already found the books. If you can't go find more books and you have to squeeze as much money as you can out of them, you want to get a really good repricing. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure we're filling the top of the funnel every single week. Are we getting fresh inventory? Are we getting good inventory and putting it into our accounts? And then we're trying to balance the other two metrics, and that really comes into play with repricing. What's our turn rate? What's our average selling price? Now, if repricing is not your issue, let's say you've got a really good system and you're still not hitting your metrics, you might want to look at the quality of the inventory you're sourcing. If your average sales rate is 2 or 3 million, then you're not going to be able to sell 3 to 5% a week. That's just not going to be possible. So you have to try and find that sweet spot. All right, let's get into some of the fun stuff. If you guys want to get really into the weeds on repricing, check out thebookflipper.com and just search repricing or Google that. You'll find a couple of really good articles. We've also done, I think we did a bookseller training, I want to say August, might have been September. We did one on repricing where we actually talked about our rules, and that is as eScore goes up, so a book is selling a lot, I don't want to be the lowest prime price. I want to be 3rd or 4th in line. I want to wait for the other, the quick sellers, the bulk sellers to sell out. I want to kind of protect my profits as much as possible. When the eScore is really low, when a book is not selling very often, I'm going to try and get closer to the merchant fulfilled price. I'm not going to ask for a big prime bump. And I kind of walk you through a system that I use in my business where I look at the historical sales. So you can use like Keepa charts or you can look at eScore. I look at what the current merchant fulfilled prices are, and the more it's selling and the higher the merchant fulfilled price, the higher I'm going to ask for a bump. Then I look at prime prices. If I let's say it's a $10 merchant fulfilled book, eScore 100, so it sells a lot at least every other day, I'm going to ask for a big bump. I might ask for $30, 25, 30, 35 bucks, maybe 40 if it's a textbook. Let's just say 30 or $29.95. I'm going to ask for $30. Then I go look at prime prices. If there's one prime price at 20 and the next one's at 40, great. I'm going to probably price right where I want at 30. If there's 10 prices below me, under 30, then I might have to reevaluate and slide into one of those slots. And again, I'm trying to balance turn rate with average selling price. So we won't spend a ton of time on that, but if you want, look up the Book Flipper repricing on YouTube. You'll find that video. I think I've done 2 or 3 on that topic, and I really break it out into steps. So if you're trying to understand what repricing is and how much you should price higher than merchant fulfilled, it kind of gives you that science and a little bit of the art on how to kind of fine tune your repricing. So check that out if you haven't seen it. It's really enlightening. It's really what we use when we price, and then it's kind of the strategy we use when we reprice as well. And again, you'll come back with counter examples where instead of pricing at 30, you were at 100 and got the sale. Cool, that definitely happens. We've had those as well. Really cool example if you want, just a good exercise. Open Seller Central right now. Even while we're talking, put it up in the background. Pull Seller Central up. Go look at your last 10 to 20 orders, hopefully today or yesterday. Go click on them. See what you sold them for. So if you sold an FBA book for 25 bucks, go look at what was the buy box. Were you it? Is that why you sold it? What was the lowest merchant fulfilled price at the time? Were there any FBA offers higher or lower? and give yourself some feedback on it. If you sold it for 25, merchant fulfill was 20, and the next prime price was 40, you probably left money on the table, and that might be, okay, maybe I can do better next time. Or you go, hey, I actually got a big premium, higher than what I thought, maybe I need to readjust my strategies. But go back and look. If you don't go back and look, how do you know if you can improve moving forward? All right, enough of the science behind it. I want to talk about blind spots. So repricing software, we talk about this a lot. I think Greg said this as well. Repricing, we really need a scalpel. Like, we want to be as surgical, as precise, as careful as we possibly can. But most repricing software is like a butter knife. And I wanted to bring up a photo. I don't think we found one.
No,
but
I have one.
Have you guys ever tried to cut through a really nice steak with a butter knife? Doesn't work out so well.
What's a really bad steak? A firm one trying to cut through?
Oh, it's not going to happen. I wouldn't recommend a scalpel that looks weird at the dinner table, but a nice steak knife, something a little bit sharper, a little more cautious. So repricing software is great. It's awesome that you can automate it. Again, we want to try and automate as much of our business as possible. For those of you trying to scale, you're trying to get to that magic bullet of passive income, right? So if you can hire a team to source for you, you've got listers in place, you've got a repricing software in place, you've got something that goes back and looks for reimbursements. If you have all that in place, you can pretty much run the business on autopilot. That's kind of the dream. And repricing software definitely is a piece of that. However, there's a lot of limitations, and I'm not going to knock any repricing software. There's a lot of really good ones out there. AccelerList has their own now. It was known as Jackal, now it's Profit Reprice, and they're just starting to beta that. Aura, AURA, has one. I don't think it's really built for books yet. I tested it out early. Wasn't super impressed, but I like what they're doing. I think they'll get better at books in the near future. What are the repricers? App Eagle.
Be Cool.
BQool. Lots of repricing software on the market. Some of them are expensive, some are a little cheaper. I know most booksellers use Reprice It just because I think it's one of the more budget-friendly ones. But I want to talk about some blind spots here. So we've talked about this before as well, but Amazon gives data to third-party developers in the form of an API. Okay, we talk about the API all the time. I think there's some issues with Amazon servers today, actually, that's limiting some listing softwares. Not just AccelerList, I think it's actually leaking across the board. So Amazon's got some server issues. It happens with big companies. That's just the nature of the game. But when it comes to the data we can get from Amazon, there are some limits. And what that is Amazon, because they don't want to show all the data, a lot of books have 100 offers or 200 offers. They're not going to give all of that data. That just plugs up their servers. It makes it really cumbersome for developers to deal with. So they share the lowest 15 to 20 offers, typically 15 if you want the highest rate limits when it comes to API. So basically, Amazon gives us 15 offers, and it's the lowest 15. If there's any prime offers in the lowest 15, they'll show up there, and you can see it. We'll show some screenshots in just a second. Hold on. We'll show that in Scout IQ. You'll see it in Inventory Labs apps. You'll just, when you're listing in AccelerList, you'll see usually a whole stack of merchant fulfilled prices, maybe one or two FBA offers. You'll see the buy box, the new prices, etc. If there are no prime prices in the lowest 15, that FBA column will be blank. It'll say 0, no prime offers. That doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means they're not in the lowest 15 offers. All right, now that we understand that, it's really important to understand that the used buy box is available even if it's not in the lowest 15 offers. It's always available. The used buy box is always, almost always, the lowest FBA offer from a reputable seller. Sometimes there'll be an FBA offer at $8, and it won't win the buy box. Maybe one at $10 will win it. That's because the $8 offer either has bad metrics, they're just launched, or they haven't yet paid for a professional selling account, and they're not eligible. So you'll see sometimes where it gets skipped, but almost always the buy box is really important to clue in on because it is the lowest prime price. All right, let's talk about blind spots. We pulled data yesterday from every single book on Amazon. Actually, I think we looked at books that I think they're under 3 million rank.
Books that are selling on Amazon.
Yeah, so any book on Amazon right now between 0 rank and 3 million, or 1 and 3 million, so basically every book that somewhat matters, we looked at those. 86% of those right now don't have any FBA offers showing in the API. So there's either no prime offers on the listing, or there's no prime offers in the lowest 15 offers. So 86% of the time, we can't see any, and we'll get a photo of that real quick.
Photo of what?
Of that happening. We'll show it in a second.
Yeah, we'll show it.
Okay, hold that thought.
Yeah, go to the next.
95% of listings don't have 2 offers showing. Here's why that's important. So 86% of offers have none in the lowest 15. That means basically 5 out of 6 times, I think that my math is right, 5 out of 6 times roughly, you're not going to see any FBA offers on your app. It's going to be blank, and the buy box is the only price we can see. Now this also means that your Repricer, which is also using the same API, can't see those either. So if you tell your Repricer, I want to be number 2 in line, well, guess what? It can't even see any offers. The only FBA offer it can see is the use buy box. So you're like, hey, Reprice it, or Be Cool, or whoever, I want to be number 2 in line. It's got a good e-score. I'm willing to wait just a little bit. They can't do anything about it. They can only see the use buy box. It gets worse than that. So we're like, okay, 5 out of 6, so 1 out of 6, I'm doing okay. Here's where it gets interesting. 4.8% of listings, so basically let's call it 5% of listings, have 2 or more FBA offers showing. And we'll show you an example of that in Scout IQ, what it looks like in the API. So 1 out of 20 has at least 2 offers. That means 19 out of 20, 95% of offers or books only have 1 offer or no offers showing. If they have 1 offer showing, it's going to be the buy box. So that's the same as if it has 0, right? So if you're telling your software, hey, I want to be number 2 in line, or I want to ignore acceptable offers, that's cool. But if it can only see 1 offer, which it can only do 95% of the time, it's not going to be able to see more data. So a lot of you go, hey, repricers suck, and I say this all the time, and you'll see like Reezy and Rakin and Avery saying the same thing. Repricers suck, they're bad. It doesn't mean they're a terrible tool. They definitely have their place. You want to automate your system. Certainly as you scale up and have thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of SKUs in inventory, you can't just go back through manually and go through everything, right? So you have to have some repricing software in place. For me, I price up front, I let it run for 6 weeks, then I let a repricer kick in and try and optimize where I'm placed to try and sell it. Once my inventory hits 6 to 9 to 12 months old and it's going to get long-term storage fees, I'm trying to blow that inventory out. So I don't really care about prime prices. If I haven't sold it after 9 to 12 months, I've probably sold 80 to 85% of my inventory. So whatever's left, the price has either dropped out, the rank has gone way up, it hasn't sold in a while. I'm just trying to squeeze the last few pennies or dollars out of it before I'm going to dispose of it. So repricers do a really, really good job of getting rid of old inventory. But when it comes to making good decisions, 95% of the time they're flying blind. So we say this all the time, repricers suck. Not that the people that created it are bad, not that the technology's bad. It's just really limited data from Amazon. So let's show you what that looks like.
And real quickly, I saw a few people mention this in the comments. For those of you that don't know what an API is, because I saw that a few times, API is simply the way we communicate with Amazon. Softwares have to use the API to communicate with Amazon and get the data back. So that's what an API is. And when it says API limitations, that's Amazon putting those limitations on there and the data they send back to the person requesting it. So I know everyone doesn't know what an API is there. So let's go on.
Yeah, so let's show that. Guys, we got over 100 watching just between Facebook and YouTube, and then Matthew's channel has more. Thanks for being here. What is it, Thursday? On a Thursday morning, West Coast, a little early afternoon, East Coast. We appreciate you being here. Again, drop some questions.
61.
We'll try and answer those. 150, 190 of you.
I know, almost 200.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for being here. All right, we're going to show you what that looks like. So we're talking about these blind spots. Here's what your scouting app is going to be looking like. So you can see a picture on the left. This is what Scout IQ is going to look like. It's going to be what nearly any scouting tool looks like. It's the same data. You can see all the used offers in the left-hand column. The FBA used column, the next one over, the second column, is blank. And before we understood API limitations, back when I first started, I used to get really excited and go, wow, there's no prime sellers on here. I can be the only prime seller, list this however high I want. Let me zoom in so I can see it. In this case, the lowest used price is like $6, right? So it's basically a penny book. But I'm like, hey, there's no FBA sellers, e-score of 40. I can price this at $20. $15, $25, I don't know. I can price it wherever I want because the next prime buyer that comes along that really wants that quickly, they're going to pay a premium. Well, it's not that there's 0 prime offers, right? So here's where the used buy box, you'll see the price that's highlighted in orange is $12. That means the lowest prime price from a reputable seller is $12. If we scroll over, so if you click on the Amazon logo on the far right, right in that gray area right there, you'll be able to bring up all the prime offers. And you'll see here, there's a couple sellers cheaper than $12. $11.90, you'll see that Marley's pages just launched, so they're not eligible. The next one down has 0% feedback. They're not eligible.
The poor seller, 1 rating.
Yeah, poor 1 rating. Try and get that one removed. The next one down, 83% rating and only 6 seller rating, so they're probably not buy box eligible. So the buy box is the lowest prime price from a reputable seller, so it's $12. So if you want to match the buy box, you can do that. Your repricer can do that. If If you go, hey, it's got an e-score of 40, it's selling a fair amount, I want to be second or third in line, you can't, the repricer in your app can't see any of that data. So what you're going to do is you could just guess. So if you want to be an FBA seller and reprice with software, given the API limitations, and I know we're getting very technical, I apologize, but it's really important to understand this. You can match the buy box, that's great. And that's what you're going to see 95% of the time is one offer or the buy box, which are going to be the same thing. If you're merchant fulfilled, all this goes out the window. You can see the lowest 15 offers, you can see all the conditions, you can pick and choose and be fourth or fifth in line, you can ignore acceptable. You get a lot more data if you're merchant fulfilled. So all of this I'm talking about, if you use a repricer and you're merchant fulfilled, you're going to get great data. That's why a lot of people sell merchant fulfilled. You can also sell on multiple platforms if you control the warehouse. Merchant fulfilled is great for that. I'm a lifestyle business guy. I want to build a business that's all prime so I can be on the road, I can be with my family, I can be playing golf, and the business runs in the background without having to have a warehouse. All right, so that's example one, and that's where we see the buy box. Let's show another one. So here's another, let me wait for it to pop up on my screen here, but here's another case, and this is an interesting one because you'll notice, okay, there it popped up. The lowest merchant fulfilled is $23.48, that includes shipping. FBA column blank, again, we're like, hey, there's probably no FBA offers, but maybe. The buy box, you'll see, is $25, so it's the second lowest merchant fulfilled price. Anytime the FBA column is blank, that means there's no FBA offers in the lowest 15. If the buy box is not higher than the highest offer you're seeing, so the highest offer, the 15th lowest offer on the very bottom left there is $46.83. If the buy box is higher than that, I guess higher this way, that means it's the lowest prime offer. If the buy box is lower, so it's one of the merchant fulfilled, that means there's no FBA offers from a reputable seller. There might be one or two, they're going to be just launched. Yep. That means if you come on that listing prime, this is a great, like an e-flip type idea. It's only selling, it's got an e-score of 12, so it's selling 3 times a month, 2 times a month, every other week. That's okay. Someone will pay a premium, maybe not that much. Whenever we see the buy box lower than any of the merchant fulfilled offers, we know that that's the buy box is going to a merchant fulfilled seller. You can test this, click the Amazon icon, again on the app, it'll bring up what you're seeing on the right, and you can see there that none of them have the Prime logo, which means there are 0 Prime offers on this listing. We actually ran a pretty good analysis. Books ranked under 3 million. I think 25% of the books had 0 Prime offers. Yeah. Meaning there's a lot of books out there that someone's willing to pay a premium for and no one's on the listing. So for those of you that sell Prime, great opportunities. If you're an e-flip user, there's a lot of ways to find those primeless books, and that's a way that you can do this. But quickly in your app, if you see the FBA column is blank, that doesn't mean there's no offers. That means you should look at the buy box. Example 1 that we just showed you, if the buy box is higher than any of the merchant fulfilled prices, that's the lowest prime price. That's what you should key in on. Again, if e-score is really good, you might not want to match that. You might want to go higher. So it's really important as you're listing to click through, see those prime offers, and go from there. If the buy box is lower than the highest merchant fulfilled price, like it is in this case, that means there probably is 0 prime offers, and that's something you can really key in on as well. Yeah. All right. Any questions on the blind spot? Hopefully that makes a little more sense. Hopefully that gives you a little better ammo to read your app. And then also it gives you some better indications. If you're telling Reprice it, I want to be the lowest prime price in a better, good or better condition. Well, a lot of times you only get one prime price to compare to. So if you're a good book, or very good condition, let's say, and the lowest prime price is good, and you're saying, hey, ignore worse conditions than me, it's not going to see anything, so it's either not going to reprice or it's going to do whatever you tell it to do if it can't reprice. Yeah. So we'll try and take just a couple questions. I've been yakking for half an hour, and then we'll make sure we have some time to turn it over, and Matthew's got something cool to share.
Someone says, I'll be sending out my very first few boxes of books. Does this mean I won't be able to get the buy box?
If you're just starting out, so to get the buy box, you need to be a professional Amazon seller. That's the $39.99 a month. You'll save $1 per item that you sell, but you can also become buy box eligible. Now, Amazon does wait until you have some feedback, enough metrics, enough sales with good metrics so you're not missing anything. And again, Amazon taking care of your inventory will make sure that you hit your deadlines, it's shipped out on time, they don't lose your inventory. So using FBA will help, but you do need to get a few sales first and a few feedback typically before you're eligible. There's no specific number. Some people will say it's 5 feedback or 10 feedback. There's no specific number necessarily, but you do have to sell a few books. So you won't be buy box eligible yet. That's okay. You might want to price a little more aggressively. You could undercut somebody else, and repricing software is going to show the buy box is higher than you because you're not it. So it actually lets you fly under the radar. You won't sell as much. Getting the buy box, from a lot of people we've talked to that have lost it or been glitched out for a while, you will double your sales if you get the buy box. So the buy box is very important.
Big deal.
And again, when it comes to repricing, I don't necessarily want to always be the buy box. If you're going to use a repricer and you're an FBA seller, you're going to be matching the buy box. That's your only option. Or you can do buy box plus a percentage, plus a dollar amount, merchant fulfill plus a dollar amount. Those are some pretty good things you can do. But you're going to have a lot of limitations. 95% of the time, you have the buy box or one prime offer to look at, and that's it. So you're going to be flying somewhat blind, and just understand that. So if you really are going to rely on a repricer as an FBA seller, you need to do something where you're just matching the buy box or buy box plus some percentage or dollar amount. That's really your only options, unfortunately. Let's take a couple other questions. We got some people in the UK. Seb, what's up? Good work. Terry says, buy books with the lowest merchant fulfilled offer of about 10 to 12 bucks. That way you'll know that if any prime offers exists, then yours is likely to be profitable. Certainly, the higher the merchant fulfilled price, the better. Brandon says, is November a really bad month for book sales? My sales have been about 40% less than normal. Yeah, it is. We also have the problem that we're coming off of our, the best time of year for booksellers is August and September. That's textbook season. We get about a 6-week window where we just feel like we're on top of the world. And so everything after that is going to feel pretty bad. But there's also low volume right now. Black Friday will pick up a bit, not much for books. December picks up a bit as people buy Christmas gifts, but again, they're mostly buying new books typically. And then textbooks will start to pick up again back half of December for January term as well as the spring semester. So yeah, November's not great. There's also a lull in the summer typically. If you are an online arbitrage customer, now is a really good time to start buying inventory because prices are really low. You can stock up and then try and flip it back in January. Robert says, how do you become reputable? Time or volume or an arcane magical formula not known to mere mortals? Probably the latter. That's a really good way to put it, Robert. Amazon has their algorithms, their rules. Typically, you got to have some sales and some feedback and a little bit of time. Kind of all of those things kind of play together. The more inventory you're going to send in at some point, you will become eligible. So definitely worth doing. Cool. Scoutly just added a buyback box like you guys did. Yep, they like to copy. They did the same thing as you guys with days with sales. Are they just straight up copying you guys, or is Scout IQ working with them? We are not working with them. Thanks for rubbing that in. But yeah, we like to innovate. If you guys are spending your dollars and investing with us, we're providing training. We're the ones innovating. Other guys are copying. So be it. It's software. That's the nature of the game. Kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Nick says, so I ended up going back to repricing manually, and the repricer seems useless. Potentially. Yep, we're going to show you maybe another alternative. Any other questions there popping up? Let me check on Facebook as well.
Someone said that you showed a book with 1.9 million rank. I'm guessing one of our examples was that.
Yeah.
Is that a book you would personally buy? I find myself sitting on these books and bought way too many when I first started. I'll only buy a higher ranked book if the e-score is good.
Yeah, so e-score is really good for doing that. That's why we created it. We invented it. I remember kind of sitting back with my brother. We were looking at it. We said, rank is so misleading. A book can be ranked 8 million yesterday, sell a copy, and be 150,000 today. If you scan that book yesterday, 8 million rank, let's say $50, you'd go, I don't want it. You'd leave it on the shelf. If you scan it one day later, that book didn't change. It just happened to sell one copy. You're going to scan it and say 150,000 rank, $50 book. Oh yeah, I want 10 of them. Let's go. This is amazing. The problem is that book is not very likely to sell again. That's why we invented eScore. I wish we could say we patented it. You can't patent, something like that. But it's our baby. That's what we invented. It really helps you make better decisions when it comes to books. My average rank, I know a lot of people stay under 1 million. Like they don't buy anything with a rank over 1 million. eScore does help you a bit. My average rank outside of textbooks is probably in the 750 to 900,000 range. I buy a lot of 1.5 million to 3 million to 5 million. I don't like to buy too much way over that unless I know that someone's going to buy it eventually. Like it's a great topic. No one's written a new copy on it. It's in great shape and it's expensive. I'm not buying 5 million ranked books to have $10 prices on them. It's just not worth it. It's got to be 40 or 50 or 60 bucks typically. But I don't have a problem with longer tail material, but you will sell less of it. What other questions do we have?
The main one's around pricing.
All right.
Over there.
So we're gonna get. Brian says just made the Scout Lead a Scout IQ jump. Couldn't be happier. Love it.
It's awesome.
Thank you for that. We love your business. We'll buy more dry erase markers to celebrate. All right, that's it from repricing. We will go more into detail. Again, if you guys want to get into the weeds, check out the bookflipper.com and look up. We have a couple articles on repricing. Go to the Bookflipper community, which many of you are watching here right now. Do Bookflipper community and search repricing, and there's a couple videos I've done that really kind of get into the academic side of what are you trying to do. All right, now that we know that there's a 95% blind spot, at least today, normally it's 90 to 95%, repricers can't see more than one price, meaning you can basically match the buy box, and if you're happy doing that, cool, but you're going to be competing with the Jensen books of the world, the undercutters of the world, and you're going to leave money on the table. So that's an okay option if you're just trying to blow inventory out. But if you guys want to do a manual way, I also have on the Bookflipper community, there's some ways you can use redirect or Chrome extension. There's another one, I forget what it's called. But it basically lets you click the link in Seller Central and see all the prime offers, and it speeds up the process, and you can certainly be faster at it. But without further ado, I'm going to switch it over to Matthew.
Yeah.
He was, so I brought Matthew in 2.5 years ago now. We were joking about this the other day. It seems like yesterday and it seems like 10 years ago. I can't figure it out. But Matthew's been a part of the team. He's been awesome. Many of you guys have talked with him. He's interviewed several of you. He's been great for handling the marketing, kind of helping with the branding. Orange was my idea, and so he kind of dealt with that. But he's done a great job. So if you guys don't know Matthew, get to know Matthew. He's awesome. I think he got a little jealous that I was doing so much software and he was helping with it, and he kind of started with a side project and said, hey, I'm gonna, there's got to be a better way to reprice without using software, trying to find something that essentially speeds up the process, lets me get through a couple hundred items in an hour instead of, one a minute, making a lot of decisions. And he started just going down this rabbit trail of, let's just start maybe some sort of a Chrome extension, maybe some sort of add-on to get the best data. I had no idea he was working on this. Avery reached out, Romer the Romer, and goes, hey, because I was helping him reprice his inventory. He goes, hey, Matthew's been helping me. His tool's awesome. I'm like, what are you talking about? I reached out to Matthew, and he goes, and this is why we're going to fight later. Not really. But he goes, hey, I've been just trying to build something for myself, and it turns out it's pretty cool. Let's see if we can't sell it. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Matthew. You want to share what you created and kind of walk through that?
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of like Caleb said, this was something I built for my own Amazon business. I like the manual repricing because you can see everything. Like Caleb said, there's not those API blind spots to deal with, and I liked doing that. It just took forever. If any of you guys have tried to manually reprice, it takes forever to do that. So the tool I'm about to show you is very different than the tool I had that I built for my business. I sell a very specific way, only used books, only FBA. I built this thing to match exactly my store, and everyone sells and reprices in very different ways. This was not made for everyone. What Caleb doesn't know about that call with Avery is that I was on my computer getting this tool. I was trying to make it into an extension. I was going to show Caleb the next day because Caleb wasn't in the office for the past couple of days. He was on a trip or something. And Avery was on the phone with me, and I was like, this is not working on my computer. So I was like, Avery, try this out. He tried it out. It worked for him, and I guess he'd messaged Caleb that night. And so Caleb found out like a few hours before I showed him about this.
I was like, I thought he was joking because he goes, I've been using Matthew's repricer. And I go, what's that?
Yeah. So yeah, Avery Romer didn't know about this a couple hours or a night before Caleb knew about this. But yeah, so it was a very simple tool. We said it might work for other people. It sped up my repricing, and so we said, let's try and build this for more people. So there's other features added to it. The functionality was changed a little bit, so it wasn't centered around the way I price, but we tried to figure out the different ways you guys might reprice. And so yeah, let's jump into this a little bit. Let me change my screen here. All right, so I want to introduce you guys to this tool called NuPrice, all right? So I say it's a simple Amazon repricer. This is going to be a way for you guys to, in a way, manually reprice your inventory a lot quicker than you're currently able to do it without those API blind spots. So I'll kind of get into why this tool exists in the first place. So as we talked about with API repricing, any of those automated repricers, with the pros is that it's automated. You can sit back and let it do the work for you. That's a very big pro of having an automated repricer. And they're quick. They do it extremely quickly. They can reprice for you up to the minute if you want them to. Like Caleb said, you might chase to the bottom that way, but they can do it if you want to. The cons, the big con is that blind spot we talked about. the price. Some of them start out cheaper, but a lot of them start out higher, especially as you gain inventory, and some of them just start out at a higher price. And then the last con of those, they can often be complicated. The good news is you can set up a ton of different rules. The bad news is that those rules can get complicated and layered, and you can miss products and things you thought were being repriced or not. So that's the problem with API repricing. The other option, or the alternative I should say, was manually repricing. The good thing about this is you get the full visibility, you can see everything. You can even pull up Scout IQ and grab eScore and everything else you want off it. And it's free, which those are great pros of doing manual repricing. With the con is it's extremely time consuming. How long, if you were like opening up tabs, trying to reprice your inventory, how long do you think it would take to like reprice with an educated guess like 500 items? It would...
A couple hours probably. You can
that,
get it, especially if you have like if you have the
yeah.
keep extension up, so you can see how much it's selling. Again, my rules are: is it selling a lot, an average amount, or low? And then I'm going to ask for a certain premium based on that, and then I'm going to look at the offers and try and be in the lowest 5 typically. But it would take, maybe I could do 3 a minute if I was really burning through it and really going quick, but probably 2 a minute. Yeah. So an hour I could do 120, 150.
And a few things, yeah.
So 500 would take me 3 to 4 hours. Now, one thing you can do, you guys should, and I'm sorry to jump in, but you guys should always have an hourly wage in your minds. If you're going to make 50 grand a year doing this business, your time is worth, divide that by 2,000, so $25 an hour. Is it worth your time, $25 an hour, to reprice? Maybe. You can figure that out if you can get an extra $3 to $4 to $5 per item if you reprice cautiously and be the second or third or fourth player in line. Maybe it is. One thing you can look at doing, I don't know if you're going to talk about it, look at a VA. Instead of $25 an hour for your time, pay them $2.50 an hour, and they can go in and reprice as well.
Yeah.
Somebody says I manually repriced the other day. It took me like 5 hours.
Yeah, it depends on how many, especially when you get to thousands of inventory. Manually repricing for most people is just not an option, even though most people probably prefer it and to have their eyes on it. It's just not an option for most people. So here comes this middle option. This is why NuPrice kind of exists. So you get the pros of the efficiency. You can still have the full visibility, and it's going to be cheaper than most of the fully automated API repricings. The con is that it's not fully automated. So this solution I'm about to show you is not automated. You can't click a button, sit back, and let it do all the work for you. But it's kind of that middle ground where you can have the full visibility, but do it a lot quicker than if you're trying to open up every tab and look at merchant fulfilled and prime and check Keepa, then go back and type in your price and on to the next one. So that's why this tool exists and what it helps with. So here's kind of your first glimpse at what NuPrice looks like. It's a program for Windows or Apple.
Mac.
Yeah, Mac, Apple, Mac. So you can download either program. So whether you're using a Windows computer or a Mac computer, this should run on it, and it should run well for you guys on there. Let me break down a little bit about this interface, why it kind of looks the way it does, and then how it kind of solves that problem we were talking about. So we'll jump in right here. So as you can see, there's a few different columns on this page right here. The very first one is going to be your SKU. I'm using an example from an account that I help manage here. And that's the SKU she has set for this account. So you can see her SKU there. If we look at this next slide here, you can see the next column has the product title, whatever your product title is. On the left side there, it's going to have your fulfillment method. So whether it's merchant fulfilled or FBA, you can see that real quickly. Then you can see that blue thing that says used. You can see this is a used product. One of the things, if you have new and used products in inventories, you want to price those a little differently most of the time. So a new product will show up a gold color and say new. A used product will show up blue. So you can quickly pick those out as you're going through here. Next, you can see the condition there. This condition of the book is good. And then you have the ASIN of the book. You can click that little link and open it up in a new tab if you want to. But the good news is the way this is built, you shouldn't have to do that. Next one over, this is one that I really wanted because I have rules in my head of if a book's been in my inventory 180 days or if it's been there, like Caleb said, less than 6 weeks. Or maybe if it's been there over 365 days. I hate looking at a date and trying to figure out how many days it's been in my inventory. So this tool shows you how many days the product's been in your inventory, and you can sort by that as well. So we can see this book has been in there quite a while. It's incurring some long-term storage fees there, 416 days in this example. So that's one way you can sort inventory with this. The next thing you see there is rank. This is color coded. It's just a general guideline. It's mainly, it's exactly set up for the book category, where 0 to 1.5 million is going to be green, 1.5 to 3 million is going to be orange, and then 3 million up is going to be red. So as you're scrolling through and doing this, you can see if it's a long tail book, if the rank's low, or if it's somewhere in that medium range there.
And for those of you that like eScore, we will be putting eScore into this as well.
Yeah, I know that question's already going to come up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is, again, Matthew built it. He kind of said, look, I want to do this as my project. I said, great. So he built this. We will be adding some other cool features into it.
Yep.
But we wanted to get this out and show you what's up to help you go a little bit faster, be a little more streamlined.
Exactly. Next one over there is your current price for the product we're looking at. So this book is currently priced at $16.24. And then the other icon over the side, if you hover over it, will instantly show you the Keep a chart for this icon, for this exact book right here. If you have the Keep a subscription, it shows the green bars as well, but it should show up pretty much instantly when you hover over it, so you don't have to worry about pulling up Amazon to see that Keep a chart. It'll show it there on the page. And like Caleb said, the thing we're releasing sometime soon will be built into this as well, so you can be able to see Scout IQ data when you hover over instead. But for right now, it's Keepa, and if you don't have a Keepa subscription, it's not going to show the rank bar. If you do, it will, like Keepa normally works. So that's all pretty much what you can see on Seller Central anyway. So here's where we get into the cool stuff. There's going to be a button at the very top that says Reveal Current Prices, all right? You're going to click this button, and when you click this button, it's going to fairly instantaneously load for you 10 products at a time, the lowest 5 merchant fulfilled offers, lowest 5 FBA offers, the new and used buy box, and then give you the conditions for each one of those. Now, how we're able to do this is that this tool is running off your computer. It's not hitting a server, it's not going to Amazon's API, it's not running off our server, so it's not scraping from a server and sending the information back. This is using your computer, it's using your browser, and getting these information just like you would normally do it while you're repricing. It's just doing it for you nearly instantaneously. So you can have all these prices load up 10 at a time. You can see that. So we can see in this example here, let me pull up one more screen for you. We can see we've got the lowest 5 merchant fulfilled there on the far left. You can see the conditions there, then at the FBA column from $16 all up to $24. And then you have the new and used buy box. Another thing this will show you, if you look at the top right there, it'll tell you if it's suppressed. So if you go to the Amazon page and you can't see a new buy box or you can't see a used buy box, it's actually suppressed and the users won't be able to see that. It'll show you here on the page as well, so you can kind of price accordingly, knowing the used buy box, the new buy box is suppressed. The thing about the API is it delivers the used buy box regardless of whether it's suppressed or not, so you have no idea if the user can actually see it or not.
So let's explain real quick, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So the buy box, again, is always the lowest FBA offer from a reputable seller. If there are no reputable FBA sellers, it'll default usually to the lowest merchant fulfilled offer from a reputable seller. Reputable meaning they paid the pro subscription, they've got good feedback, they've sold enough items. If you go to an Amazon page, usually you'll see it'll say like, hey, you can buy it new from Amazon, or from, the new buy box is usually featured. There'll be like a used buy box right underneath it or off to the side. Amazon kind of A/B tests it so it changes, but it'll say used. It's usually the prime offer, and then it'll say like 68 more offers starting at whatever, and then you can click through that to look at all the offers. It's hard to know exactly, but like 50%, maybe more of sales, and again, there's lots of data out there. It's hard to know exactly. Let's call it 50% of sales come through the buy box. So sellers are lazy. They're going to go to find the book they want to read. They want to read Thinking in Bets or When by Daniel Pink, or my new favorite author, Mike Michalowicz, Profit First, Clockwork. He's got a bunch of good books. Shout out to Mike. He has no idea who I am, but I love your stuff. A little bit of fanboy there. But if you want to go find Mike's next book, you go click on Amazon and you're like, hey, I want it new for $25 or used from $18. You don't look at all the other used offers typically. Smart seller buyers do, but most people just go, buy box, cool, add it to cart, check out, and move on. Every once in a while, even though the API shows a buy box, it'll be suppressed, meaning it'll show new, but if used is suppressed, so sometimes they'll suppress both. And usually what they're doing is Amazon says, hey, this book is normally worth $25. These guys are asking for $50. We don't want to stiff the customer. And it's weird because there's some books that they won't suppress that are listed at $2,000. I've sold them through the buy box for $2,000 before.
It's kind of random right now.
And usually we cancel because it's a $50 book and that's weird and it's going to cause issues, and I don't want to do that to a customer. If Amazon determines with their algorithms, which are not always that smart, that the price is too high, they'll hide it. So this will tell you if the buy box is suppressed, meaning you probably want to price lower than what's their FBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
just a heads up on that.
So that's why it says SUP there. That means suppressed, and you can see there if it's suppressed on Amazon. So here's how this works. You now see all these prices. Instead of opening up a tab for Prime and for Merchant Fulfilled, looking at the buy box and then going back, you can see all this in a single glimpse. Now all you have to do is click once on whatever price you want, and then instantly it's going to reprice that product. So you can see here it turns the price blue, so you know it's repriced. So now that book is repriced to $13.20, which was the lowest one there. And then over the far left, you can see it says repriced today. And if you were to hover over that with your mouse, it would say what your previous price was. So you can see what you repriced from. And then this is going to adjust over time. So if you open this tool up 2 weeks from now, that's going to say this book was repriced 2 weeks ago. So you can scroll through your inventory and see when the last time it was you repriced that specific product, and sort by that, or do every 2 weeks and keep going through and cycling through that way. So you know the last time it was repriced. You're not doing extra work that you don't need to do if you're trying to reprice only once a week or once a month type thing. So you can track that right there and then reprice that book with a single click. You also have some extra things to sort at the very top. So you can do a search from date or a search to date. So if, like Caleb, you don't want to list books that, or don't want to reprice books that are less than 6 weeks old, you can say, I want to see books that are from the past 6 weeks on, and completely ignore those books and not worry about repricing them. If you price up front, you can say you want to see books that are $250 or higher, whatever price you put at your books, and just reprice the ones you just listed. Go through, reprice them quickly, and then you're done with that. Or, of course, you can type something in the top, like your SKU identifier, and then find the books from a specific source and reprice. There's a bunch of different ways you can use those filters to filter it out and see it quicker on that screen. And then, lastly, one cool thing is at the very top, there's going to be a little settings icon. If you click that settings icon, I don't have an image here because it shows your account name and seller name and everything like that. If you click that tool, though, you can either change your accounts. If you manage multiple accounts, you can reprice any of those. You can switch the account you want. And also, you can set a feature so you can always price a little bit above or a little bit below whatever offer you click. So, for example, am I still live there?
Yep, still live. No, it says offline.
What happened there? Looks like it's going back online.
And we're back. I don't know what they lost out on. Jump back into the settings feature real quick, just in case. It looks like we glitched. Yeah. Sorry. There's been a lot of server issues.
I think we're back online. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why it glitched.
A lot of server issues all over the internet lately. All right, we're back. Cool.
All right,
thanks,
looks
guys.
like we're back. Hopefully it don't go down again. What I was saying is there's a setting icon at the top. You can reprice any accounts that you have permissions for. So if you manage other people's accounts, you can reprice all those too. And also you can set to reprice above or below whatever price you click on. So for example, if I want to reprice a penny above everything that I click on, I can say 0.01 for 1 penny. And if I click on $13.20 as my price, it's going to price it at $13.21 without me having to manually type that in there. And so this tool, you can really just scroll down, have one click because you can see all the information there, and you can reprice from 100 to 300 products in about 15 minutes, going through and hitting that button and loading them through. So you can get the benefits of seeing everything, manually repricing, but doing it a whole lot quicker. So even if you have 1,000 items in your inventory, if you dedicate 10 minutes a morning and go through there, you can reprice those extremely quickly. Or like Caleb said, if you want to have someone else do this for you, you write out the rules you want them to reprice by and have a VA go through once a week and reprice your inventory, being able to see everything and not have those blind spots there. So now getting into pricing, since I'm sure you guys are wanting to know what it actually costs. Let me pull this up here. It looks like we're still live. So normal pricing for this will be $14.95 a month or $129 for a year. Since this is kind of that in-between method, it's something that's going to speed you up a lot, but it's not a fully automated repricer. We wanted to come in lower than what most of the fully automated repricers are charging. So $129 a month, you're basically paying a little over $10 a month for this product. Or if you want to do it monthly, you're not ready to commit to that, it's like $14.95 a month. But we have a special for today, since we're launching it for the next 4 days, where you guys can pay $99 and get it for the entire year, and it'll lock in at this price. So as we add features in the future, like eScore and the graph, and maybe some features to select a price for you to make it easier for you to know what you want to click on, little things like that, you'll be locked in at the $99 price point a year. That's less than $10 a month. So quite a bit less than most of the automated repricers there.
It is, and again, we wanted to price this in such a way. Matthew and I went back and forth on it.
Yeah, trying to figure out a good price for it.
We asked a lot of the beta testers, a lot of the beta testers too, what it's worth, and a lot of them came in with higher prices. we want to make this accessible. So if you're just starting out, you have a couple hundred items in inventory, it's not going to break the bank. And if you've got a more established account, if you have thousands of ASINs in your inventory, it's also not going to be very expensive. Most of the repricing software kind of scales up as your business scales up. We don't care. Basically it's a downloadable app, and we're just trying to make it easier.
It doesn't cost us more in server fees if you have 5,000 items in inventory or 100, unlike it's service that uses an API.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
with that reason, it's kind of in between price point, but if you guys want to commit to a year, get locked in there, it's less than $10 a month, which I think is pretty competitive there. So if you guys want to take a look at it, of course, like all the products we offer, if you're not happy with it or something, just let us know. We'll work with you. It's not like you pay once and you're done. You can never get a refund if you hate it and it doesn't work for you.
What did we see today on Facebook? We won't throw any names out, but there was somebody that was selling a gating service, and a bunch of the
yeah, someone scammed a bunch of people with a gating service,
and a bunch of like affiliates jumped on and were helping, like, say, hey, go check out this affiliate service. And apparently they I'm getting
did not work out well.
Getting a call from Twinsburg, Ohio. That's pretty cool. I am a twin. Little known fact. They have a twin festival. But anyway, 100%. If you're not satisfied, it's not even like a 5-day thing. If you're not satisfied, let us know. We'll give you your money back.
Yeah,
we build tools on purpose to try and help better your life, make you more efficient. And if it's not for you, just let us know. We'll make it right. And that's just how we run things. That's how we run business.
And since it's a brand new tool, another reason we can price it lower is that I'm sure there's some bugs mixed in there some people will find, and little things like that. And so as we correct those will be updated, and you guys will get new features in there quite frequently, hopefully. So yeah, check it out if you guys want to, and we'll answer some questions in here. I saw there were quite a few questions. I'll leave that screen up for a second.
I got a couple there. I'll try and feed in some from our channel here. So again, the main goal here, it's not a repricing software. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to automate everything. We're going to give you that scalpel that you're looking for and make it way more efficient so you can be able to get through quicker. If you guys buy a license, it's good for one computer. Again, if user permissions, we'll have videos on this later. You can switch back and forth. So if you manage lots of accounts, if you have a VA that manages 2 or 3 or 5 accounts, they can pay for one license and handle as many accounts as they have permissions to see. Some of the other questions that come in, someone goes, I'm definitely getting this versus Reprice it.
I saw a few people ask about showing profit. That is a feature that's coming within like the next week. It'll show you your current price. Underneath it, in smaller letters there, it'll show you what your profit would be at that price. So if you type in $7 for a book, it'll say your profit will be 2 cents if you price it at this, or negative 50 cents. So you can see what your actual profit would be when you're pricing that. Of course, it's not going to take in your cost of goods sold into account. It's just going to be the profit once it's sold after Amazon's fees and everything. So that'll really help you. For those of you who want to know how low can I put this book before I'm losing money on it, because Amazon will let you lose money on a book.
Oh yeah, they don't care.
You can do that because if you guys, fees are very much based on the weight of a book. So for example, there's, I was talking to, I think it was Hello Kitty dealer about this the other day. I forget who it was, but there was one book that weighed 0.3 pounds. I think you could price it at like $5.50 and still make a penny off of it. There was another book that weighed 2.5 pounds. You have to price it at like $8.95 to just break even with that book. So weight does come into factor in it, and we will have that as a feature in there very soon. It's just not in there quite yet.
A couple other questions. How do we, someone says, where do we sign up for the launch price?
The launch price is going to be there for the next 4 days. So if you sign up for the yearly price, you'll get the launch price the next 4 days. No special coupon code or anything like that. It's live for the next 4 days.
Cool, so that'll be there. Someone says, does this work in Canada right now? Have we tested it in other countries?
It should theoretically work in Canada. I actually have not tested it in Canada.
And UK, same question. So we got our people in the other countries as well. We'll check on that. Probably, we may have to change the domain. I don't know if it's...
It should theoretically, I'm thinking through it should theoretically work. If someone from the UK or Canada has already signed up, let me know if it works so we can know real fast.
We'll kick that back to you. Someone says, if I have new products, will it show me the new prices instead of used prices?
Exactly, yes. There's one thing I skipped over. So if it's a new product, it'll automatically register that and pull in all the new merchant fulfilled and new FBA prices, so you can price accordingly, because of course if you're pricing new, you don't want to look at the used stuff most of the time. You want to see the new stuff, so it'll automatically pull that in place of the used offers if it's a new book.
Yep. Someone says, do we purchase through the software? I just downloaded it. So you can download it for free. Yep. For Mac, it's a little funny. You'll have to drag it into your applications folder. And then because it's coming from basically a website that's not like, I don't know why, but Mac makes you right-click on it. So 2 fingers on your keyboard or right-click on it. and then you can say open, and it'll let you open. If you just try and open it, it'll say it's not from a trusted source. We are trusted, but right click on it if you're a Mac user, and then say open, and then it'll say, are you sure? And you can say yes. Once you open it, it'll bring it up and say, hey, log into Seller Central if you haven't done so yet. Once you've done that, it'll actually give you the link to purchase a license key, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, and then we're adding a thing to this on Mac and Windows that'll take this whole Windows defense thing and Apple thing away. It's just because it's unrecognized and it's not signed by Apple or Windows. It will be signed by Apple or Windows in the near future, so you won't get that. You might get that right now for the next couple of days, but that will be implemented very soon where you should be able to download it and have no issues at all. But both for Windows that Google will just tell you it's an executable file. You shouldn't download it. You can click the little arrow, hit keep anyways. When you open it up, you'll have a little thing to hit more options. You can hit download anyways. It'll download that. Same with Mac, like Caleb was just saying. Someone said just downloaded and signed up and activated. It's fast. Wow, that's awesome. Glad it's working already. Will you be adding a way to add a fixed cent amount? For example, I want all my books to be 99 cents. Oh, you mean end at 99 cents.
So whatever price they click at 99.
Make it an even 99, I think is what he's talking about. Like if he
probably.
Clicks
so if he clicks on a 1320,
$13.99.
Probably. We could look into that.
We can look into that.
If enough other people want it.
Yeah, right now, like I said, you can always price a certain amount above or below. So if you always want to price 10 cents or $1 above, you can do that. But right now, no, you won't be able to put it in such a way that it always ends in 99.
Someone says, will this work if I have 500,000 books in inventory? Will it work? If you have 500,000 books, kudos to you. That's awesome. And yes, it still will work.
It'll still work. It'll take you quite a while, even with its speed, to get through all 500,000 books there. So you might need 10 or 20 VAs on that.
Yep.
But it'll work, yeah.
A couple more questions. Would this be wise to use for pricing up front, like with the waterfall method, or just with repricing? Both. And that's one of the options under the settings there. You can actually set it to look at any item that's exactly, a lot of you price everything at $299. And then you come back and reprice it later. So you can either sort by items that are just listed, so you can sort by days on the market, whether it's really old, or you can look at the really new items and you could reprice all those manually. Mm-hmm. So it's great for that if you just want to speed list with Accelerlist or ScanLister or the listing spreadsheet and list everything at one price. This is great. You can look at most recently listed. That's a great way to do it. Or you can look at prices that are at the $299 and reprice from there. I'm getting a lot of feature requests. Again, there probably will be some bugs. It should be working pretty well. Again, we're not like repricing in the background for you, and nothing's automated, so it shouldn't drop prices or do anything bad. Yeah, but give us lots of feedback. We're going to be adding a lot more features to it, and again, whatever price you're locked in at, you're going to keep that as long as you stay on there as well. Could you allow users to upload minimum prices on a per book basis? So like a floor price, essentially?
As in like floor it, if you click a button to make it the absolute lowest you can go? Or
probably. Let us know what you're exactly asking there, Steve.
And yeah, someone asked about the pricing up front thing. I've actually been using this tool exactly for that. I have 3 scouts listing to my account. I have all of them listed at exact same price, so I can go through and manually price instead of trying to teach all 3 of them my pricing philosophy and try and get them to do that. They all listed. I know the exact price they're listing it at. Once they post it to my account and they go active, I can see that and then reprice all the books they listed, and it's pretty quick to be able to go through and do that.
Getting 2 questions here on, I've got 2 computers. So I got one in the office, one at home. Can we get a discount on a second computer?
Yeah, just reach out to me. The support email is just support@nuprice.co. If you want to have multiple licenses, I can definitely work out a discount for you on those. So yeah, just reach out at support@nuprice.co, and I can get you taken care of there. Also, if you're experiencing bugs, something seems different with your computer that other people aren't experiencing. Also, someone says you don't know if it works in the U.S. or outside of the U.S. Yeah, we have not tested outside of the U.S. So if you're outside of the U.S. and you're worried it's not going to work, you don't have to buy it right now. We can verify that, and I'll get that back out soon. Let you guys know if it does work in UK or Canada. Because I'm sure someone's probably already signed up that does live in the UK or Canada. They can let us know real soon, or we can just go test that after this. But I will get an answer for you guys on that very soon, and I'll post that to the website as well, whether it works for US, UK or Canada. I believe it will. I don't see anything that would prevent it from pulling the exact same data.
Facebook won't let me put the email address. It thinks it's a spam.
Facebook.
All right, what other questions do you guys have, either on the software or repricing in general? We will cut this off in just a little bit because we are over an hour already. We want to be respectful of your time. Again, support at NuPrice, NUPRICE.co.
So someone's asking about when prices will show up. This is going to show your active inventory. So active inventory is normally going to be repricing. So it shows your active inventory. For some reason, you guys want to see a list of all your inactive inventory. We can put that in there, but it's not in there right now. It's going to be your active inventory for right now.
Someone says the deadline for the special price will be Monday, 4 days. Yep, so it's Thursday,
4
so
days,
Friday,
yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Monday night, midnight will probably change around there. Yeah.
And again, we're not trying to be like sneaky or like super high pressure sales tactics. It's just we're trying to give you a benefit for jumping in. There will be some bugs, so it's kind of a discounted price to say thanks for being an early adopter and thanks for putting up with a little bit of construction mess. And we'd love your feedback. There's a lot of ways that we can improve on this, and we're excited to be able to share those as well. And again, Matthew's going to be your contact guy for the most part. I'll definitely troubleshoot. I've been using this as well. It's been great. But Matthew's going to be the man, the myth, the legend on this one. Cool. Getting a lot of good feedback. Someone wants to sell back your book integration with it. We'll see. That'd be kind of cool. Definitely getting this. Been sick of automated repricers. Love it. And again, kind of the holy grail with this one. I keep using that term because Nathan Holmquist emailed today talking about the holy grail of income. So I've been stuck on that today. So thanks for that little Monty Python reference. Probably the holy grail with this is to get a virtual assistant. We'll do some training. Romer the Romer or Avery has some training up on his YouTube channel. We'll get some stuff up as well on how to find a virtual assistant, how to make sure you get a good one, and then kind of how to set this up. Because if you can teach them the rules that you're following, I want to be third in line or look for price gaps or whatever your process is, if you can kind of outsource that and turn it over to somebody else and pay them a couple bucks an hour, then coupled with this tool, you can get some really good repricing, kind of fine tune where you want it, and go through your inventory on a regular basis. So that's going to be a pretty cool way to do it. If you guys do this, drop us a line and let us know how it works, because VAs are going to be kind of pretty cool as well. Terry says, does it guarantee unlimited book selling success both now and forever?
I don't know, what do you think?
Is that in the fine print? Is that in the fine print? I don't think so.
Somewhere.
How many items can I reprice? All of them? Does it show if you'll lose a profit on a book?
No, not right now, but it will very soon show your estimated profit with whatever price it's set at. So you can set a price at $5 and it'll tell you for that book you'll make a penny or you'll lose $1 on that book, and you can adjust accordingly from there.
Someone says, what about blind spots? We're always going to be showing the lowest 5 prime prices here. Again, we're using your computer to load the items in the background. We're not using an API. We're not scraping. We're essentially loading it on your computer. So we're not violating any terms. Matthew was really careful to do that. And so we're not going to have the blind spots. You're going to get 5 prime prices. Looks like it's still going. Sorry, guys. We're glitching a little bit on the internet here. Someone says free trial.
No, there's not a free trial right now. It's a sign up. If you guys aren't happy, like we said, we'll give the money back. That's mostly because the software using dual the license key and everything does not allow for a free trial. We might custom build something in the future, but right now it's just the software limitations. There's no free trial.
Yep. And again, if you're not happy, we'll make it right.
Yep. Let us know.
All right. Well, guys and gals, thanks for being on. We appreciate your time. And how many per hour can you reprice? What's your record right now? Have you done a full hour, like just focused in, cup of coffee, going crazy?
I think I've done up to 45 minutes. I wasn't counting the 45 minutes. I did 300 products, I believe, in 15 minutes. Was the last time I timed myself doing it. But I challenge you guys to do it. I'm curious what your numbers are. After you've gotten the hang of it, you've used it a few times, try and time yourself. Set it like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm curious to see what you guys are able to reprice, feeling like you've comfortably repriced each book, seeing all the data. I'm curious what your numbers are, but I think it was about 300 in about 15 minutes when I was doing my time trial a little while ago.
Can you enter in a specific price, manually enter a specific price?
Yep. All you do is click on your current price, type whatever price you want to enter, and it'll automatically reprice it to whatever price you typed in.
Perfect. A couple more questions and we'll cut you loose. Can you add a filter that will sort the last time you repriced on the software?
So right now you can't. That is something we can possibly add in there. But it'll just tell you on the side when you repriced it last. Normally though, you're going to be either starting from the top of your inventory or your oldest inventory or setting a date, so you'll be able to know by that what you repriced last and look at the following date or something along those lines.
Someone says, Nicholas says, can you add in all of your cost of goods in the price? So for example, I use a prep service. Right now, if you put in your SKU, it'll be in there. You can see your SKU.
You could do that. What I was going to say though is that most of the time you wouldn't necessarily need to do that because your goal is to sell every book. Because if you don't sell it, you're going to either have to dispose of it or have it sent back to you. So theoretically, the cheapest way to get rid of a book on Amazon, aside from selling it, is to spend 15 cents. It's 15 cents.
15 cents to dispose of it, 50 cents to ship it back, which you don't really need it if it's a dud.
If you lose 13 cents in a book, you're saving 2 cents over disposing that book. So even if you paid $2 for the book and you say, oh, I'll lose my $2 that I invested into it, that's a sunk cost. You've already paid that. You're not getting that $2 you spent on that book back. So if you can sell that book for $1, you're theoretically losing $1, but you have $1 more than you would have if you had disposed of that and just sent it back to yourself. So you could put cost of goods in there. We don't have that feature right now, but most of the time, you probably wouldn't need to.
Yeah, again, I think cost of goods is somewhat overrated, especially with books. Once you've bought it, it's kind of a sunk cost. You've already sent it in. Your goal is to maximize what you can get out of it. And again, your cost to get rid of it, ignoring storage fees or long-term storage fees, is 15 cents. So technically, if you can sell it at a loss of 14 cents, which will show you exactly what the fees are going to be in a future iteration, if you can sell it at a 14-cent loss, technically, a penny on what it would cost to dispose of it. So it's a kind of a Pyrrhic victory there. But anyways, I'm sure Jeff knows to respond to Caleb. Yeah, he doesn't have any clue who I am. Jeff Bezos. We're joking about email access. You guys can email Jeff Bezos. His team gets it, jeff@amazon.com. If you guys are really in a pinch.
I thought that went directly to him.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. He's busy playing tennis. But anyway, guys, thanks for being here. Matthew, thanks for jumping in and showing everything.
Here. Yeah, let us know. Email me if you have any questions. Again, support@nuprice.co. And let me know what you guys think of it.
Any final words of advice? Life tips? Good books to read?
There is this one good book called Indistractable. I've halfway through it now. You guys should check it out. It came out 2 days ago. If you're easily distracted, or even if you get distracted sometimes, check out the book. It's got some really good advice in it so far. So that is a good book, actually, to check out if you're in the market for one. So
cool. Guys, we'll catch you on the flip side. Again, if you're ever in Denver, drop us a line, swing by the office, say hello, get your photo, and we will catch you next month with another edition. Hopefully, we'll be getting Chris on here and talking accounting as we get to the end of the year. Have a great day, guys.
All right, see you guys.